Hey, it's me, Stevie, just chilling in my truck for a minute while my client is drying. I'm sharing this because I'm excited about my herbal life, my changes in life. I feel so good. I feel so healthy. And I've lost, a lot of weight, but I feel incredible. And so I just thought I'd share this with you. If you don't know what you'd like to do to take care of yourself, my blood pressure is great. I have absolutely no medications to take. Cholesterol all the way down. I'm just excited about my health. I feel so much more vibrant and alive. I look forward to getting up every day, 4 a.m. Life is good.
Stephanie Brinson wore many hats. Grandmother, mom, a volunteer who gave back to her community.
It really hurt. She was a very loving person to a fault. You know, she didn't care what your past was. She saw the good in everybody.
Today, we will be in Northern California at Mule Creek State Prison, located around an hour drive southeast of Sacramento. The medium security with the maximum security prison yard is home to many people that have been convicted of some of the most gruesome crimes in California. It has also been the home of some very infamous people that many of you most likely would know. Names like Scott Peterson, the man who was convicted of unaliving his wife and unborn child. He currently calls Mule Creek home after he was transferred from San Quentin Prison in 2022. Then there is Lyle Menendez, who alongside his brother Eric Menendez, brutally unalived their parents in their upscale Beverly Hills home many years ago. That is just two, with many more that are doing time or have done time there. Well, a 54-year-old man, who many may not know by the name of David Brinson, was incarcerated there for many years after he was convicted of a mass slaying in June of 1990. Now fast forward 30 years later, and that same man is allegedly being accused of taking his wife's life during a conjugal visit at the jail. 62-year-old Stephanie Brinson, who everyone affectionately calls Stevie, had a life full of happiness with being a mother of 2 boys and a grandmother to 6. Born and raised in the LA area, she attended Inglewood High School and came out with the class of 1980. She would go on to study special education at the University of Southern California. From there, she went on to have a few great jobs in the corporate world before ultimately becoming an entrepreneur in the hair business and running her own shop. Since 1996, she was not only the owner of Hair Elite, but a manager, educator, stylist, and master Brazilian blowout specialist. The motto that Stevie lived by in her shop was, "Where healthy hair, friendship, and great advice are born every day." Sitting in her chair was more than just getting your hair done. It was a full experience. Her warm personality won her clients over, and her talented hands always made a person look great.
Hello, everybody. I think I'm live. This is Stevie. How are you? I hope everybody's holding up well. I'm in my backyard looking toe up. Yes, I'm a hairstylist and I'm looking toe up, staying in, trying to be safe. But I decided to do this quick impromptu video to say to my clients how much I love you and I appreciate you. So many of you have done some really little things in my bank account, shooting to my Cash App, my Venmo. And I just want you to know I feel so blessed.
Stevie's love for life was truly unmatched, and she enjoyed every moment of it. Between her boys and grandkids, she truly could not ask for anything more out of life, and her time with them meant the world to her. When she had downtime, she enjoyed a good baseball game, watching her beloved Dodgers, or a great football game, cheering on the Rams. She was a person who kept her life full of positive and saw the good in everybody she met. Stevie was so optimistic about life, and even though she had been married and divorced, she still wanted that special person in her life. Some years back, she would end up in a relationship with the now 54-year-old David Brinson, who has been behind bars for the past 3 decades. Her and David hit it off, and she would eventually marry the man that had 4 life sentences. She truly believed in second chances and had faith that she could help her husband become a better person. To give you some background on David's brutal crime, it all took place on June 12, 1990, and he would end up taking 4 lives. On that date, 59-year-old Robert Marks, a retired tavern owner, was at his garage apartment on South Burnside Avenue in the Mid-Wilshire district, just hanging out with his roommate and 2 other friends. The men had gathered at Mark's apartment to watch the 4th game of the National Basketball Championship Series. When a 5th man showed up later, around 6:30 p.m., he discovered 2 bodies. and ran back out the door and told a neighbor to call for help. A neighbor, who was afraid to be identified, said she went into the apartment and spotted one of the men laying face down in a pool of blood and Robert laying in the opposite direction. The two other men that were also in the house were found unalive when authorities arrived. Long story short, a then 23-year-old David Brinson thought Robert was a high-level white powder dealer. David decided that he wanted to see what Robert had, with two people to have his back seeking money and the alleged pounds of powder. However, David ransacked the residence and only found a small amount of grass. He then decided to shoot each of the four men in the back of their heads as they lay face down. He eventually was caught and tried in February of 1994. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Initially, the end of the road penalty was on the table, but the jurors could not agree upon it. So the prosecutors agreed not to retry the penalty phase in exchange for David's promise not to appeal his case. But that tragically was not his last time he allegedly took someone's life. A life of a person that was not behind bars. A life that cared for him dearly, and that person would be his wife, Stevie. In California, under special circumstances, some people may have conjugal visits. The policy says that some incarcerated people are eligible for family visits. Family visits occur in private, apartment-like facilities on prison grounds and last approximately 30 to 40 hours. The following individuals are excluded from family visit: incarcerated persons who are sentenced to get the chair or needle, any incarcerated person with convictions of sex offenses, anyone in the reception center process, or anyone under disciplinary restrictions. So if David would have been convicted to get the chair or needle, he would have not been able to have those visits, and Stevie would still be alive. But because he was an alleged good inmate and stayed out of trouble, David taking 4 people's lives was not serious enough for him not to get conjugal visits. Stevie was said to have visited him on multiple occasions before she lost her life. On November 13, 2024, David reportedly called prison guards around 2 o'clock in the morning in his prison family visit unit, where he was having an extended conjugal stay with Stevie. He said that his wife had passed out and officers began life-saving efforts. Paramedics arrived and continued those efforts, but sadly Stevie was pronounced unalive at 2:51 a.m. It was not until 2 weeks after she lost her life that her family learned that something was suspicious about the way she passed away. Then the news no one wanted to hear would come in March of 2025, 4 months after she lost her life, that the coroner finally ruled that Stevie was unalive by strangulation. However, even with this horrible news, the district attorney is waiting to get the full report from the jail before filing any charges.
A notorious LA kid serving life in prison without the possibility of parole reportedly strangled his wife to death during a conjugal visit. 54-year-old David Brinson was convicted in the 1990 execution-style murders of 4 men in the Mid-Wilshire district. Authorities say last November, while at Mule Creek State Prison in Northern California, he told officers his 62-year-old wife Stephanie had passed out during a conjugal visit. She was declared at the scene. 4 months later, a coroner confirmed that she was strangled to death. The Amador County District Attorney is awaiting the prison's full report before filing charges against Brinson. Brinson has since been transferred to a state prison in Stockton.
It wasn't for another 2 weeks after her that her family was notified that something seemed suspicious about the case, and it wasn't until last Friday that they were finally notified that this in fact was a homicide, that she died by strangulation. Now, the man she was in there to see, her husband, has not been charged, has not even been named as a suspect to us when we inquired about the case. Tonight, the family is remembering her, and they're frustrated about what was allowed to happen in that prison.
It's very frustrating, especially because they haven't charged anything yet. They just know that it's a homicide, but nobody's been charged or prosecuted or anything. So it's a very frustrating role because we know it was just him and her in the room, nobody else. No supervision, no phones. They take her phone, they take all her belongings. So what hope does she have?
They are accountable. They are accountable. You know, it was my mother's choice as a grown woman to be there with the person that she was with, but they're accountable for the type of protection that they provide for these people when they provide a service like this.
The fact that he had another chance to take another life is so disappointing. Stevie was a beautiful woman inside and out and was said to want nothing more but the best for him. Everyone has a right to choose who they love, and she chose David. He has been behind bars for 30 years and was already never getting out and managed to murder again his own wife on jail property. Now, when charges most likely come down on him, he will definitely be looking at the end of the road if he indeed took her life. He was the only one with her at the time, so I don't know who else would be to blame. It makes me wonder, over his 30 years, has he taken any more lives in jail and just got away with it? There are so many unanswered questions, and I just pray that the full truth comes out and that her 2 sons and grandbabies she loves so much can get justice. Do you all think he should have never had conjugal visits in the first place? Let me know. My thoughts and prayers are with all her loved ones during this difficult and continued bereavement. So please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.